The finally JEE 2026 results are out and you have survived the most toughest time of your life. You have stayed in coaching centers for 2 years with many sleepless nights, lot of mental torture, lot of pressure on you and giving lot of exams every week. But you survived it and you cleared JEE. So congratulations on that. Exactly 8 years back in 2018, I was in your place with many questions in my head. I had consulted many of my seniors and I have taken the suggestions, and based on their suggestions, I have given my web options and I got into chemical engineering IIT Kharagpur, and I absolutely have no regret about that. So many of you might be facing the same situation just like I did in 2018. So I am Pandu and I am a graduate of IIT Kharagpur. So in this video, I'll try to answer as many questions as possible based on my 5 years of experience in IIT and current job market, and considering the situations in IIT, the reality checks and everything, and my web options journey. So let's go. So first of all, I'll categorize your ranks into 3 different categories: the top rankers, the mid rankers, and the borderline rankers. So basically, the top rankers are below 2000, and the mid rankers are between 2000 to 8000, and then borderline rankers are above 8000 till the cutoff. So if you fall under the category of top rankers, then you have absolute luxury to choose whatever you want. So you can definitely get into CSE, IIT Bombay, or CSE, IIT Delhi. But if you can't get into there, you can still have option to choose any circuital branches in top 7 IITs. So I can say that you have absolute clarity about exactly what you want. And if you're a mid ranker, you are definitely in the dilemma. I know that you don't know whether to choose core branches like mechanical, chemical, or civil engineering in top tier IITs, or whether to go for circular branches in new generation IITs. So this is indeed an absolute dilemma. And the borderline rankers, I can definitely understand your situations too. You're also absolutely in the dilemma whether to go for the good IITs or choose the mid-tier IITs with whatever branch you get. So this is the confusion everyone has at this point of time. But no worries, if you have opt for proper web options, you can definitely get into the better position for sure. Now the question comes, which IIT and which department? But before that, I'll ask you a question. How you want to see yourself after 4 years at IIT? This might sound silly, but if you have answer for this question, then you are half sorted. Because depending on what exactly you want at the end of 4 years at IIT, that decides which college and which department. So I'll take some scenarios based on what you want at the end of 4 years at IIT based on my experience, and I'll try to explain them so that you can decide which college and which department based on your rank. Before we go any further, let's talk about the hardcore unfiltered facts. Did you know that vast majority of the IITians, we are talking about roughly 70 to 80% of the students, shift towards software technology, data analytics, management consulting, and finance by the time they graduate? What this means is simple. Your IIT campus placement will give you massive window of opportunity to pivot into non-core sector. So at the end of the day, does your branch matters to get a high paying job? I would say no. Only the top 5% of the elite quant and algorithm trading firms filter for computer science and circuital branches. But the remaining 80 to 90% of the software companies or the product companies are open for every single department. So literally, they don't care about your department. All they care about is, do you have coding skills? Do you have problem solving skills? Or do you know data structures and algorithms or not? So inside IIT, your department doesn't define your career, rather your DSS skills define it. So only 10 to 20% of your entire batch goes into core engineering jobs, researches, and higher studies. So you can understand what exactly IITs want at the end of their 4 or 5 years. Now let's talk about the scenario A, where you want a high paying tech job at the end of your 4 years. Again, the college and the department depends on your rank. So if you fall under the category of top rank, then as I mentioned earlier, you have absolute luxury to choose whatever you want. So basically, you will get into CSE at IIT Bombay or IIT Delhi or many top tier IITs, or you might get into the circuital branches at top tier IITs. But if you someone who only want the computer science, then you can definitely choose the mid tier computer science. And I think mid tier computer science and the circuital branches at top tier IITs have the same weightage, I feel. Now the mid rank category, the people with rank between 2000 to 8000. So these are the people who has like lots of dilemma for sure. But I would like to divide this category into 2 more subcategories, top and then dilemma. So for the premium mid rankers, you have 2 options. Either you can go for core departments like mechanical, chemical engineering in the top tier IITs, or you can choose the circuital branches as mid tier. So it depends on your interest, that if you want a brand value, then go for the top tier, and if you want circuital branches, that at the end of the day you want to get into the tech firms, and if you want more openings, then definitely choose the mid tier circuitry branches. And for the dilemma mid rankers, you won't be able to get into the circuitry branches at the top tier. At the same time, seats will be filling fast at the mid tier circuitry branches, and of course the computer science is not for you people. So you have like these things, either you can go for core mechanical or chemical or civil at the mid tier, or you can trade off between circuitry branches at the new IITs or versus the circuitry branches at the CSE at the top NIT if you have a good JEE main rank. So I would suggest going for a good top NIT with circuitry branches or CSE compared to new IITs circuitry branches. So that's the one thing. But again, as I mentioned before, I prefer top tier IITs. If you are interested, until and unless you have passion for the circuitry branches or CSE, you can still choose the top tier college. So for the borderline rankers, listen to me closely. Grab the absolute best available top tier IIT brand you can get, regardless of the branch. Ultimately, it's the IIT tag on your resume that matters, not the department. That brand opens lifelong door for you, whether you stay in tech, shift to finance, or launch a startup. If you want to code but get a branch like metallurgy, mining, or ocean engineering, look at it as a blessing. These are the relatively lower effort branches, meaning you get more free time. Treat the time as a secret weapon, use it parallelly, pursue a minor degree in CSE or AI, and start coding as early as possible. I know people are panicking that AI is changing how we code, but at the end, everyone is still building the products. Sit down with your hostel mates, find a driven group of friends, and start building things together. By your fourth year, you can absolutely land phenomenal tech placement. And hey, if you actually end up falling in love with your core subjects, the research exposure at the top IIT can easily land you a full funded PhD abroad. And my final verdict is prioritize a top tier and a solid mid tier IIT over anything else. Do not compromise on the brands just to take the core branch like mechanical or chemical at the brand new IITs. The ecosystem, the network, and the tag of the established IITs are unbeatable. Grab the brand, build your skill, and the rest will take care of itself. That's mid tier. So it depends on your interest that if you want a brand value, then go for the top tier. And if you want circuitry branches, that at the end of the day, you want to get into the tech firms. And if you want more openings, then definitely choose the mid tier circuitry branches. And for the dilemma mid rankers, you won't be able to get into the circuitry branches at the top tier. At the same time, seats will be filling fast at the mid tier circuitry branches, and of course the computer science is not for you people. So you have like these things, either you can go for core mechanical or chemical or civil at the mid tier, or you can trade off between circuitry branches at the new IITs or versus the circuitry branches at the CSE at the top NIT if you have a good JEE main rank. So I would suggest going for a good top NIT with circuitry branches or CSE compared to new IITs circuitry branches. So that's the one thing. But again, as I mentioned before, I prefer top tier IITs. If you are interested, until and unless you have passion for the circuitry branches or CSE, you can still choose the top tier college. Now the scenario B is if you have passion for any specific field. So basically, many of the students, they decide what they want to do in their 10th class or in their intermediate. Like someone wants to be a mechanical engineer, someone wants to be a software engineer. So in this scenario, if your rank is good and if you get your branch in any of the IITs, like top tier, mid tier, or in new IITs, but if you want that particular branch, then in that case you don't need to think about anything, you just go for it, because at the end of the day you're settling for it, right? You want to be a mechanical engineer, you want to be a software engineer, you want to be a chemical engineer, so that what matters more. Let's talk about the scenario B, where few students have passion for the specific fields. So some students from their 10th class or from their intermediate itself, they want to be mechanical engineers. Like someone wants to be a software engineer, someone wants to be a chemical engineer. So in this scenario, let's say if your rank is good enough and it gets you whatever the specific field that you want, then it's good enough. You don't need to think about which IIT, whether it's top tier, mid tier, or a new generational IITs. You want a specific field, so just go into it, because you're going to spend the rest of your life in that particular field. That's the one thing. Now the second case is like, what if your rank doesn't get you into the field that you want? In that situation, we can't do anything. So I suggest that go for the top tier IITs and choose any branch that you get, any top branch that you get with your rank, and I think at least that will satisfy you, the culture and everything of the top tier colleges. Let's talk about the scenario C, where people wants to go for higher studies or the research. So if you have this mindset that at the end of 4 years or 5 years, if you want to go to the higher studies, then I would recommend you to go for the top tier IITs, because they provide you the better facilities, they provide you the better opportunities in the research, because top tier IITs have established labs and everything, and established professors. So it's always good to have, established professor in the labs for your research. That's the one thing. Again, in this scenario, if you have interest in specific field, then again you have to go for this specific field irrespective of the IITs. But if you don't have any specifications, at the end of the day you want to do research in anything you might get interest in the future, then yeah, just go for any branch that you get in top tier IITs or the mid tier IITs. And yeah, you can start doing research from your third year itself, and you can publish the paper, doing research in third year, fourth year and fifth year. If you choose the dual degree, then yeah, you can definitely get into a PhD into the foreign universities very easily, the top universities in the world. So that is one thing you need to consider. Now let's talk about very important thing, BTech versus dual degree. So you know that, so for the same college, the same department, for BTech you need better rank compared to the dual degree. Now how do you choose between BTech and the dual degree? Let's say at the end of your graduation, if you just need a job, then choose BTech. So basically for your rank, if you're getting BTech and at the same time dual degree, then I'll suggest go for the BTech, because you're finishing your graduation 1 year before and you're getting out with a good paying job. There is one more thing. Let's say if you want that particular branch and for your rank you only get the dual degree, then I would suggest go for the dual degree directly. And for the BTech people, there is this one benefit that at the end of the third year, if you want, you can switch to dual degree if you want to spend one more year in the college. And there is this one more thing called DEPSI, departmental change. Many students fall into this trap. Almost all IITs would allow the departmental change, but it's only like 1 to 2%. So if you want to do a departmental change, you must get above 9%. For the CS, you must get like 9.5 or more than that. For the first year students, it's really difficult. The reason is, it's not that you are not capable, but the only thing is you really don't put that much effort in your first year, just like you did for your JEE, definitely. So yeah, you have to carefully choose that. I mean, don't think that I'll choose whatever I want at the very beginning, put a lot of effort in my first year and get the DEPSI. So need to think about, you will not have the same environment just like your JEE preparation. So that's one thing you must consider. Look, ultimately IIT is a tag that accelerates your journey, but it won't decide your destination. You need to decide your destination. It's in your hand. So you must remember this one thing. So once you step into the IITs, your rank resets to zero. It doesn't matter whether your rank under 1,000 or hundreds, or whether you're 10,000. It doesn't matter. Everyone is competing with everyone. Like if you're computer science, you have to compete with the metallurgical student, and the metallurgical students also need to compete with the mechanical, computer science, chemical, everyone. So everyone is under the same room. Now everyone has the same environment, same professors, same Wi-Fi network, same availability, same alumni network. So it depends on you how you decide your destination. So while choosing the web options, you must think about the long term. Just don't think about the short term, and choose wisely. I hope this video is helpful for you. I tried my best to cover all possible things. If something is missing and if you have any specific doubts, you can directly ask me in the comment section and I'll try to reply them as soon as possible. If let's say if there are more questions popping up, then I can definitely take up these questions and I'll make a follow-up video as soon as possible to clear your doubts. Thank you very much. All the best for your future.